You know that feeling? You roll out of bed, hit the ground running, maybe grab that first coffee. You're thinking, okay, ready to tackle the day.
We've all been there.
But then maybe mid-morning, you just hit a wall. That familiar drag sets in.
Yeah, the energy just vanishes.
What if the very habits you think are setting you up, the things you do every morning, are actually, well, sabotaging your energy before the day's even really begun?
It's a fascinating thought, isn't it? That our routines could be the culprit.
So today, we're peeling back the layers of your morning routine. We're going to dive deep into the science behind those habits, the seemingly innocent ones that could be leaving you feeling groggy, drained, mentally just, wiped out. And we want to figure out how you can reclaim that morning energy.
Exactly. Our mission for this deep dive is really to distill the key insights from some pretty powerful sources. We're looking at articles, the latest research, wisdom from top neuroscientists, sleep experts.
Big names.
The big names, yeah. We want to expose those hidden ways these routines might be making you tired. And more importantly, give you some, science-backed tweaks, real things you can do
Practical stuff.
to transform your mornings from energy draining to actually energy sustaining.
Okay, so we've got evidence, expert opinions, folks like Dr. Matthew Walker, Dr. Andrew Huberman.
Others too.
That's right. Solid science behind this.
All right, let's jump right in then.
Let's do it.
Let's start with one I think almost everyone is guilty of, myself included sometimes. That blissful extra 9 minutes of snooze time.
The snooze button, the frenemy of mornings.
Totally. We rely on it thinking, it's just a little more rest, a bit more peace. But could it actually be robbing us of alertness later? Like hours later?
It's truly counterintuitive, isn't it? But yet the science points that way.
How does that even work?
Well, when you hit snooze and drift back off, your brain doesn't just, pause. It often starts diving into a new sleep cycle, sometimes a deeper one.
But then that cycle gets brutally interrupted just 9 minutes later by the next alarm.
Okay, so it's fragmented sleep.
Exactly. And that interruption causes what scientists call sleep inertia.
Sleep inertia. Is that the really groggy, what planet am I on feeling?
That's the one. That profound grogginess,
Yeah.
disorientation. And the kicker is it can linger for hours.
Hours. Seriously, just from hitting snooze a couple of times.
Yeah. It messes with your whole physiology. See, your body naturally starts preparing to wake up about an hour before your alarm.
Right, melatonin goes down, cortisol comes up.
Precisely. Melatonin down, cortisol and adrenaline gently rising. The first alarm is usually timed to catch you in a light sleep stage, which is ideal.
Makes sense.
But snoozing confuses that whole process. You trick your body into thinking, okay, back to sleep, maybe going deeper.
Only to get yanked out again. Ouch.
Exactly. Dr. Matthew Walker, the sleep expert, he actually calls it a cardiovascular assault.
Whoa. Okay, that's strong language.
It highlights the stress it puts on your system, and Dr. Eric Prather puts it really well. Waking up shouldn't be a negotiation.
Right. You're not bargaining for more rest. You're just confusing your body.
And getting lower quality fragmented sleep in return. It prolongs grogginess, affects your mood, can even make you crave sugary stuff for breakfast to compensate.
Okay, I'm convinced. Snooze is bad.
Uh,
So, what's the fix? How do we break the habit?
Good news is the fix is simple in concept, though maybe not easy in practice initially.
I'm listening.
Try the across-the-room trick. Put your alarm physically far enough away that you have to get out of bed to turn it off.
Forcing the movement.
That little bit of movement helps break the inertia. And, this is crucial, get serious about your circadian rhythm. Wake up at a consistent time every single day.
Even weekends. Oh, that's the hard part.
That is the hard part, but it makes a massive difference. No more than maybe an hour's variation, tops. And immediately open those curtains, let the light in.
Signal to the brain it's daytime.
Exactly. And maybe find something you actually look forward to in the morning. Your favorite coffee, 5 minutes of reading, stretching, a podcast. Make it appealing to get up.
Okay, that leads perfectly into the next point, consistency. Or the lack of it. What about those weekend lie-ins? They feel so good.
Oh, they do. Feels like a reward.
But are they actually throwing our whole system off balance? Making Monday mornings even harder?
Absolutely. This is where that idea of social jet lag comes in.
Social jet lag. Like regular jet lag, but for my social life.
Sort of. It's the mismatch between your body's internal clock and your actual sleep schedule, often driven by social schedules like sleeping in late on weekends. Your circadian rhythm thrives on predictability.
Okay.
When you drastically shift your wake-up time 2-3 hours later on Saturday and Sunday, You're confusing that internal clock. Big time.
And that makes you tired, not more rested.
It leads to poor quality sleep overall, even if the quantity is higher sometimes. Your body just isn't sure when it's supposed to be properly asleep or properly awake. Think hormones.
Right, cortisol, melatonin.
Exactly. Consistent wake times help keep those in sync. Cortisol for alertness, melatonin for sleep, even serotonin for mood. Research shows irregular schedules are linked to higher stress, metabolism issues, even increased depression risk.
Wow.
And other studies show fixed wake times lead to deeper, more restorative sleep, like REM and slow-wave sleep. Dr. Walker calls it inducing social jet lag. And Dr. Michael Brewis just says, your body loves predictability. It's fundamental.
So the takeaway for you listening is consistency might actually be more important for your daily energy than just counting hours slept.
Yeah.
Your body needs that rhythm.
It really does. It functions optimally with that predictability.
So actionable steps for this one, besides the tough weekend one.
Well, reinforce the consistent wake-up time. Aim for that 1-hour window max. Definitely ditch the snooze button, as we said.
Right.
Get that morning sunlight, ideally within 30 minutes of waking, is a powerful anchor. Avoid those late-night screens. The blue light really messes with melatonin. And build a solid, consistent wind-down routine at night, too. It all works together.
Okay, good. Let's shift gears a bit. What about the very first thing we put in our bodies?
Yeah.
I know I often reach straight for coffee. Is that bad? Reaching for coffee before water.
It's such a common habit, isn't it? The automatic coffee ritual. But think about it. You've just gone, 6, 7, 8 hours without any fluids.
Fair.
And you're losing water the whole time, just breathing, maybe sweating a little. It's called insensible water loss. So you actually wake up in a state of mild dehydration.
Even if you don't feel thirsty.
Yeah, absolutely. And research, like studies in the Journal of Nutrition, show even mild dehydration impacts energy, mood, focus. Cognitive performance takes a hit.
Okay. But coffee has water in it, right?
It does, but it's also a diuretic,
Yeah.
meaning it makes you pee more, potentially leading to further fluid loss.
So it can make the dehydration worse, not better.
Exactly. You're starting behind on fluids, and then you introduce something that could deplete you further.
So when I think that coffee is waking me up, am I just masking that dehydration?
To some extent, yes, and it matters a lot. Your brain is about 75% water. Dehydration literally makes your blood thicker.
Seriously?
Yeah, so your heart has to work harder to pump it around, getting oxygen to your brain. Your brain volume can even shrink slightly, which directly causes that brain fog, affects mood.
Wow, okay. That's vivid.
It can even mess with your natural cortisol awakening response, your body's own wake-up signal. Dr. Dana Cohen says many of us are basically living in a state of chronic, low-grade dehydration. And Alex Turoff puts it perfectly. Start with water first to replace lost fluids before introducing something like coffee that could cause more loss. Otherwise, you're asking your body to run a marathon before giving it essential fuel.
Okay, sold. Water first. How do we make that happen? Make it easy.
Super simple fix. Put a full glass or bottle of water on your nightstand the night before. Make it the first thing you see and reach for.
Visual cue. I like it.
Adopt a water before world rule. Drink a good amount, say 16 ounces or about 500 milliliters, right upon waking. Before the phone, before the coffee.
Water before world.
Yeah.
Catchy. Any benefit to adding salt or lemon? I hear that sometimes.
You can. A tiny pinch of good quality sea salt adds electrolytes, helps absorption. A squeeze of lemon is mostly for taste, maybe a tiny vitamin C boost, but it can make it more palatable for some.
Okay. And then how long before coffee?
Give your body maybe 20-30 minutes to rehydrate properly, then enjoy your coffee. It'll probably even feel more effective then.
Interesting. Okay, sticking with consumption. Let's talk breakfast. We try to be healthy, right?
Yeah.
Granola, maybe some fruit juice, a muffin on the go. Could these healthy choices actually be energy vampires?
This is such a common trap. Yeah, we're talking breakfast high in refined carbs and especially sugar.
Like pastries, sugary cereals.
Exactly. Toast with jam. Most fruit juices are basically sugar water, those flavored yogurts. Even many commercial smoothies can be packed with sugar.
Right. So what's the problem there? The sugar rush.
It's the rush and the crash that follows. These foods spike your blood sugar really fast. Your body then releases a flood of insulin to deal with it, but often it overcompensates. Insulin pushes your blood sugar down too low too quickly. That's called reactive hypoglycemia.
And that's when you feel tired.
Bingo. Your brain is suddenly starved for its primary fuel, glucose. And that directly triggers fatigue, that heavy brain fog, irritability, mood swings.
And cravings for more sugar to get back up.
Precisely. It's a vicious cycle starting with your first meal.
Man, you're basically setting yourself up for an energy roller coaster all morning.
You really are. Dr. Alyssa Goodman compares it to putting kindling on a fire, big flame, burns out fast. And Dr. Mark Hyman says, food is not just calories, it's information.
Love that. So sugary breakfasts send the wrong info.
Exactly. Bad info leads to struggle. There was even a study, I think, in pediatrics linking high sugar breakfasts to shorter attention spans in kids.
Okay, so what's the right information to send our bodies with breakfast?
You want to focus on protein, healthy fats, and fiber, PFF.
PFF, got it. Why those?
Because they provide a slow, steady release of energy. No dramatic spike, no dramatic crash.
Makes sense. So what does that look like? Give us some examples.
Think savory, scrambled eggs with spinach, maybe some avocado. Plain Greek yogurt plain is key with berries, chia seeds, maybe some walnuts.
Okay.
A smoothie can be great if you pack it right. Unsweetened almond milk, protein powder, greens like kale or spinach, nut butter, and only a small amount of fruit for flavor.
So not a fruit bomb.
Definitely not. Or even something like steel-cut oatmeal, cooked plain, with nut butter and flax seeds stirred in. Substantive meals that provide reliable, steady energy.
Okay, PFF breakfast. That feels doable. Let's shift to environment. Light. We hear blue light is bad at night.
Right. Disrupts sleep.
But what about morning light? Is staying inside under dim artificial lights actually making us tired?
It's a huge, often overlooked factor. Morning sunlight is arguably the most powerful signal for your circadian rhythm, your master clock,
More powerful than?
than almost anything else for setting that daily rhythm. That bright natural light, especially the blue wavelengths in it, does two crucial things first thing in the morning. One, it powerfully suppresses melatonin, the sleep hormone, tells your body sleep time over.
Right.
Two, it boosts cortisol, the good natural morning rise in serotonin. That promotes alertness, focus, even improves your mood.
So it's like a natural on switch.
Exactly. Dr. Andrew Huberman explains it really well. Morning sun activates specific cells in your eyes that talk directly to your brain's master clock, anchoring your rhythm.
And without that signal?
Your body struggles to really know if it's day or night. You might get a weaker melatonin signal later, a delayed or blunted cortisol spike in the morning, leading to lower daytime energy.
And indoor light just doesn't cut it.
Not even close. Indoor light might be, 100 to 500 lux? Natural daylight, even on a cloudy day, can be 10,000, 50,000, even 100,000 lux. It's a completely different scale of signal.
Wow, okay. Dr. Tachin talks about needing a strong light signal within the first hour, right?
Yeah, he emphasizes that window. It's critical for setting the clock properly for the entire 24-hour cycle.
So if we ignore this, we're missing out on free energy, basically, and messing up our internal clock.
Pretty much. Dr. Samer Hadar called light the most underappreciated factor in health.
So how do we leverage this? What's the fix?
It's incredibly simple and totally free. Aim to get 10 to 30 minutes of natural sunlight within about 30 minutes of waking up.
Just step outside?
Yep. Eyes open, no sunglasses needed for this short period. Let the light hit your retinas. Even on an overcast day, it's vastly brighter than indoors and still beneficial.
And try not to look at your phone before you get the sun.
Ideally, yes. Get the natural light signal first. If getting outside is truly impossible location, weather, mobility, then a 10,000 lux light therapy lamp can be a decent substitute used correctly.
Okay, sunlight first. Got it.
Okay.
Let's circle back to coffee one more time. We talked about hydration first, but when should we drink coffee? Most people, me included, want it, like, immediately.
The immediate gulp, yeah. But timing might actually be key to avoiding that mid-morning crash. Remember that natural cortisol peak we talked about? Your body's own wake-up juice.
Yeah, the cortisol awakening response, CAR.
Yeah.
Peaks about 30-45 minutes after waking.
Exactly. If you drink coffee during that natural peak, you're essentially adding caffeine when your body is already naturally stimulating itself.
Overkill.
Kind of. And it can interfere with your body's own cortisol production over time, maybe making you more reliant on the caffeine. Plus, caffeine works by blocking adenosine receptors.
Adenosine, the sleepy molecule.
That's the one. It builds up during the day, making you feel tired. But adenosine levels are naturally lowest right when you wake up.
Ah, so there's less adenosine for the caffeine to block first thing.
Precisely. It's like using a powerful drug when the problem it solves isn't really there yet. Laura Sapullo, a dietitian, says drinking coffee when cortisol is high might inadvertently teach your body to produce less cortisol naturally.
Oh, that's not good.
And then what happens? The caffeine wears off mid-morning just as your natural cortisol levels are starting to dip anyway.
And bam, crash time. Because all that adenosine you blocked comes flooding back.
Exactly. You get hit with the caffeine withdrawal and the natural dip and the adenosine flood. It's a perfect storm for a slump. Huberman is a big proponent of delaying caffeine for this reason.
Okay, this makes so much sense. We build tolerance, get dependent, and still crash. So how do we use coffee smarter? What's the timing?
The sweet spot seems to be waiting about 90 to 120 minutes after you wake up.
An hour and a half to 2 hours. Okay.
Yeah, called the golden window. This lets your natural cortisol peak and start to come down. Then, when you introduce caffeine, it provides a more effective, sustained lift because it's working with your natural rhythm, not against it.
And you've already hydrated, gotten sunlight.
Right. Combine a delayed caffeine with hydration, sunlight, maybe a little movement first.
Right.
That's a recipe for much better, more stable morning energy.
Okay, golden winter for coffee.
Yeah.
Love it. Now, another instant habit, grabbing the phone, checking notifications, emails, social media, literally the second we open our eyes. Feels productive, right? Catching up.
Feels productive, but it's actually hijacking your brain. Instantly.
Yeah, jacking how?
Well, think about your brain state when you're just waking up. You're probably in a calm, maybe theta or alpha brainwave state. Relaxed. Open. Grabbing your phone and scrolling immediately jolts your brain straight into a high-stress beta state. Problem-solving mode. Reactive. Anxious.
Yikes.
Dr. Tristan Harris calls it the neurological equivalent of revving a cold car engine to the red line. You're flooding your system with dopamine hits from notifications, but also cortisol from potentially stressful emails or news.
So it sets an anxious tone right from the start.
Totally. It overwhelms your prefrontal cortex, the bit needed for focus, planning, decision-making. Dr. Anna Lemke says it puts you in a defensive posture before your day even begins.
And decision fatigue, you mentioned that, just from scrolling.
Absolutely. Dr. Roy Baumeister's work on this is key. Every little micro decision, open this email, reply to that text, like this post, read this headline. It all chips away at your finite willpower and mental energy.
So by the time you actually start your day or work, you're already mentally depleted, having spent your best brain power on, well, other people's stuff.
Exactly. You're mentally exhausted before 8 a.m., reacting to everyone else's agenda instead of setting your own.
Ugh. Okay. How do we stop this? The phone is so addictive.
It really is. Step 1, get a real alarm clock, a simple, old-school one.
Okay. Ditch the phone alarm.
And charge your phone overnight in another room, or at least across the room, out of arm's reach.
Creates a physical barrier.
Yes.
Yeah.
Then institute a first-hour rule, or maybe start with 30 minutes. No phone for that first chunk of your morning, period.
And replace the habit.
Crucial. Replace scrolling with something better. Hydrate. Get that sunlight. Move gently. Maybe just sit quietly. Practice mindfulness. Set one simple intention for the day. Give your brain that calm space to wake up properly.
Okay, no phone first thing. That's a big one. But I see the power. Let's talk about the commute. Often feels like dead time or a stressful time. Could that journey itself be draining us before we even start work?
It absolutely can. We often underestimate the cognitive and emotional load of commuting. It's not just passive time.
What do you mean cognitive load?
If you're driving, you're making constant micro-decisions, navigating traffic, anticipating others. Public transport involves navigating crowds, filtering noise, processing schedules.
Right, your brain is constantly working.
Exactly. Neuroscientist Daniel Levitin talks about our limited daily decision-making capacity. The commute can eat up a surprising amount of that before your workday even begins.
And the stress. Traffic jams, delays.
That triggers a low-grade but chronic fight-or-flight response, a slow drip of cortisol. It leads to anxiety, makes it harder to concentrate later, and causes physical fatigue. Plus, just the sensory overload noise, lights, chatter is incredibly draining for your brain to filter constantly.
So we arrive at work already kind of frazzled and depleted.
Often, yes, in a defensive state, focus already frayed. William Bridges suggests reframing the commute. See it as a transition period that can serve you, rather than just deplete you.
Okay, how do we make the commute restorative instead of draining?
Be intentional about it. Curate your soundscape. Instead of stressful news or just silence, choose uplifting music, an engaging podcast, an audiobook you love.
Set the mood.
Yes. If driving, practice mindful driving. Focus on the act itself, the present moment, not just impatiently waiting to arrive. Maybe have a firm no-work email rule during the commute.
Protect that transition time.
Exactly. On public transport, invest in good noise-canceling headphones. Game changer. Maybe read a physical book instead of scrolling. Or try a guided meditation app.
And if you walk or bike.
Even better, use it for themed walks, focus on gratitude or brainstorming. Or embrace intentional silence. Let your mind wander productively.
Okay, making the commute work for you.
I think.
We've covered a lot of specific don'ts. Let's touch on two final points that seem related. Simply not moving enough in the morning, and also, maybe paradoxically, having too much of a rigid plan or no plan at all. First, the lack of movement.
Yeah, just staying completely sedentary until you absolutely have to rush out the door.
What does even light movement do?
Even just gentle stretching, a short walk around the house, even making your bed. It does so much. Increases blood flow, gets oxygen and nutrients moving to your brain and muscles, triggers some endorphins.
The feel-good chemicals.
Right. And it gently raises your core body temperature. All these signal to your body, okay, time to be awake and active now. Research shows it improves sleep later and reduces daytime fatigue. Staying still basically tells your body, nope, still resting.
Okay, so move a little. But then the planning part. What about waking up with no clue what to do first versus having this super strict minute-by-minute optimized routine? Are both problematic?
They can be, in different ways. Waking up with no plan at all can lead straight back to that decision fatigue we talked about. What do I do first? What's important? You waste mental energy just figuring out the morning.
Right, draining before you start.
But the other extreme, the hyper-optimized rigid routine, can also backfire. It creates pressure, internal friction. You might force yourself through things that don't actually feel right or serve you that day, ignoring your body's real needs.
So you're fighting yourself again.
Exactly. You exhaust that precious self-control energy just sticking to the rigid plan, energy you need later for deep work or handling challenges. This is where an intuitive morning comes in.
Intuitive morning, meaning.
Tuning in and asking, what would actually feel good and supportive right now? What would serve me best? Maybe today it's quiet stretching, tomorrow it's reading, the next day it's tackling one small task.
Allowing flexibility.
Yes. It allows your brain's default mode network, the creative, reflective part, to activate gently. Alan Watts talked about joining the dance of your own rhythm. Albert Einstein said he was only passionately curious. It's about self-awareness, not rigid self-regulation.
So find a balance between doing nothing and doing everything according to a strict schedule.
Precisely. Move your body gently within that first hour. Even 5 minutes counts.
Okay.
And create a menu, not a mandate, for your morning activities. A short list of enjoyable, low-pressure options: reading, stretching, journaling one sentence, watering plants that you can choose from intuitively each day.
A menu. I love that. Less pressure.
Exactly. And maybe build in just 10-15 minutes of totally unscheduled buffer time. Time to just be, notice how you feel, sip your water. Redefine morning productivity as feeling calm, centered, and mentally ready, not just ticking boxes.
Wow. We have covered so much ground today. From, the sneaky snooze button to the power of light, water, food timing, even our thoughts and commutes.
It really paints a picture, doesn't it?
It really does. It's clear that the morning isn't just like a random collection of habits. It's setting the biological and psychological path for your whole day.
And what's so encouraging, I think, is how the science keeps pointing back to relatively small, intentional shifts. Understanding the why behind the fatigue empowers you.
Yeah, knowing why hitting snooze makes you groggy or why waiting for coffee helps.
Yeah.
It gives you the motivation to change.
Exactly. It lets you make choices that truly serve your energy, your focus, your well-being.
So you listening now have the knowledge. You have the tools to really start transforming your mornings, breaking up with those energy-draining habits, and replacing them with these science-backed rituals that can give you sustained energy, real mental clarity. It's about moving from just getting through the day to actually thriving.
Which really brings us to the final, maybe most important point. It raises a question for you.
Yeah.
Thinking about everything we've discussed, what's one small single shift you could choose to make? Starting tomorrow morning. Just one thing to move from simply enduring your day to truly fully embracing it.
It's a great question to leave people with. Food for thought. Thank you so much for joining us for this deep dive.
My pleasure. It's fascinating stuff.